Well, thank you for joining us again here on CatWorld TV. We're joined on the sofa today by our very special guest, Kevin Dean, who's a composer, producer and music publisher. His latest work is Mogology, music for cats and cat lovers. Now, Mogology, that's not really a word I'm very familiar with. How did that start off?
Well, in 1995, I produced an album called Spirit of the Cat, which didn't feature much cats at all. There was some meowing, no purring, and it was a success. But it wasn't really an extreme cat product. And all these years on, I wrote another piece of music in 2003 called Purrs in Heaven for my cat Tigger who died. And it wasn't written with any commercial intentions at all. Just a piece of music that came out of me. It was quite sort of, it changes your life, 16 years with a cat. Sad piece of music, composed it, and the idea was to give this CD to people who have had cats, who've lost them, died. Bit of comfort for you, sad piece of music. Anyway, a lady called Marilyn Edwards heard this piece of music, and Marilyn is an author of a series of cat books on cat behaviour and sort of stories about her cats, etc. Fantastic series of books, Cats of Moon Cottage, Cats on Hutton Roof, the Coach House Cats, and she said to me, "You've got to release this music commercially." I said, "No, it's just purely for, as I said, just a sort of a real piece come out of me, not for commercial use." But then I started thinking about it and I thought, well, yes, because having read her first book, I wrote another piece of music called Otto and Septi's Tune for her cats, and then the whole thing sort of snowballed. It was like another piece come along for another cat. Before you knew it, I had 10 tracks. And that's how the album came about, even before adding any purring or meowing on. And the term Mogology I actually made up years ago. And what is Mogology? It's basically an expression to celebrate the appreciation, the existence and the expression of cats, Mogology. So when this album was finished, these 10 tracks, I thought, well, Mogology, music for cats and cat lovers. So yeah, the original inspiration was, being a cat lover, to start off with, just doing a track anyway, and then being inspired by these books and writing more tracks around it. So yeah, that was the initial inspiration.
So have cats inspired you throughout your life then?
I've always been totally fascinated by cats and their behaviour, and I just sit for hours watching them, doing their things, washing, playing. I can just sit there and look at them all the while. So yes, I'm a big cat lover. I've always had cats since I was a child, and I've got 3 at the moment. My 3 cats are a funny bunch of girls. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful, but the story behind how I got those is I got this cottage in Suffolk, in the countryside, and so I've had cats before, and Tigger died where I was before, and I thought, I'll wait till I get this new place and get new cats. I went to the cat shelter, and the intention was to go there and find cats that really were not wanted, in the way of, families going and picking the, sweet, pretty kittens, and I said that one mum, I wanted cats that were there for a long time, and there were 2 overweight girls, and their names were Cheeky and Chops, which, sums it up really. They weren't abused, but they'd been taken back there, not wanted, then wanted again. The couple split up and they smelt of nicotine, cigarettes. They've been there for 8 months. Beautiful, but sadness in their eyes, real sadness in their eyes. So straight away I said, that's it, that's them. So I visit them 3 or 4 times a week, about 4 months before I actually moved into the Pixie Cottage. And of course, going to visit the cats, these 2 girls, which I renamed the Moon Sisters, Abby Moon, as in A-B-B-E-Y, and Angel Moon, the Moon Sisters. Visiting them, say, several times a week, I would see other cats. And there's one particular cat, again, had been there for 8 months, sweet cat, but she was so nervous, a stray, she just hide up. So people have gone visit her to pick a cat, and she's gone. Don't want her, she's not very friendly. So again, I was getting used to this little Trixie, her name was, and I said to Elaine, the lady who ran the shelter, I said, I can't leave Trixie. I'll have to have her as well. She went, okay. So I renamed her Petal Rose. And so all 3. So I mean, Petal Rose chases the Moon Sisters around the cottage. She's a little cat, little micro cat. She's gorgeous. She was apparently found living with a fox when she was a stray cat. And she actually walks like a fox, I think. But she's so friendly and affectionate. and but all three of them get on really well. Trio of cats there. I'm not sure who's the boss. I think they sort of vary, but they do get on. They're turned into real country cats. They bring back moles and rabbits and these poor rodents, but they love it out in the countryside and with the fields. So I think for me to get those cats that were, they could be there still now if I hadn't had them. People just don't want them. So I was pleased to give those a home, and of course made them stars. They've been in all the magazines. They've been, they've been written about in a book, Marilyn's book, The Coach House Cats. They're on the CD, purring and meowing, and they've got good voices. And I think, the bottom line really, as far as releasing records is concerned, I only release records about subjects that I'm actually passionate about, and hence passion for cats. So it is nice to do something. You've got to find that balance of finding something that's going to be commercial and something you're actually interested in yourself, rather than just, so it's often like not composing a piece, it just flows out of you. So yeah, always been a cat lover.
So were your own cats featured on the album?
Yeah, there are lots of cats featured on the album. So as I say, you've got these 10 tracks, and then having to record for almost a year, compiling different cats around catteries and friends' houses, and of course my own cats as well. So there's loads on there, and it took quite a long time to get them to perform really well. I think perform is the wrong word, but just catch them at the right time to make the right noises, and tea time, and wanting to go outside and things like that. So have the microphone set. Recording my cats was good because obviously it's my own house, my own cottage, and I can do it in my own time. But going to places like the catteries, the cat shelters, you have to work around their time and things. And in the end, I had, I would say, probably about, almost 2 hours worth of cat vocal expressions, which I had to sit through. And it literally was like, the X Factor. I was the Simon Cowell, when he sits there and auditions all the singers. I was going through these cats and thinking, no, and good tone, I'll have that one. Making a note of, whereabouts on the rough footage it was, and then overdubbing it onto the music and carefully selecting the right expressions for the cats and getting them so they're in tune, and which I never put in tune personally. They were just naturally in tune, which is quite bizarre. Like the frequency was spot on. So yeah, my 3 cats: Angel Moon, Abby Moon, the Moon Sisters, and Petal Rose. They're all on there amongst other cats. Yeah.
So when was the CD released?
CD was released in January 2006, and I was in Spain on the release date. And it's always quite nerve-wracking because it's an actual definite date, and they can suddenly be in the shops on that day, available on all the retailers around the world, and it's up to me, depends on my own publisher, to do the promotion, to arrange the radio interviews, all the press and everything, press releases to be sent out and things. And yeah, earlier on this year, and I think it's almost a year now, and I'm really pleased how it's gone. And it just snowballed. I think 10 years ago, you put the word Mogology into one of the internet search engines, you'd get nothing come up. It'd probably say, did you mean something else? But you put Mogology in now, and loads of stuff on there. Type into Google, Mogology. So I'm quite proud of the fact, I made the word up, and the CD's just sort of taken off.
So you've inspired the word Mogology across the world then?
Well, it's just, people got used to the word, and I've heard it mentioned in various contexts, and I sometimes email people and say, what is Mogology? What are you talking about? And they say, it's a cat. Some guy on one of the websites was saying that he's a mogologist. He said he studies Mogology, and I said, yeah, quite bizarre. It's how it goes. But I think the word snowball is the right word. It just, set it go, and and suddenly it's like all around the world.
So that's the response from humans. Has it been equally well received by cats?
Well, I think cats are aware of it because, firstly, my cats were in the studio when I recorded the music and compiled the album and edited it and produced the whole thing. So I'd often look at their reaction and to see how they reacted to certain sounds. And they're always come and lay down next to you when you're playing the guitar or at the mixing desk at the computer and stuff. So, and people have written to me on emails, and there's things on that people have said, have you heard this CD? My cat's reacted to this. But I haven't, although the frequencies are, around the cat frequency, a lot of the music, a lot of the guitar sounds, I've made sure they are, I haven't sat down and scientifically, worked out exactly the right pitches for that reason. It's not meant to be, see how the cat react. It's just like, it's not a novelty record, but it's a record where you just enjoy it. It's a feast for the cat fan, basically, a pure feast for the cat fan. And your cats may or may not go up to the speakers, but they probably will, because there's lots of purring and meowing in it, so they will at least look at that. But I think even the music, they're quite, they might sort of lay in front of the fire and just chill out, and because it is relaxing music, a lot of it is, So I think, yes, they probably do enjoy it, to answer your question. The Subtle Art of Mogology, Part 1. And on this track, it's quite sort of a laid-back ambient piece, and I talk over it, and I say all the words that cats do and are. I mean, there's about 40 words I say, purring, washing, licking, playing. I missed out some words like puking, because I thought, I'll keep it sort of, but all the nice things that cats do. And so I say all these words over this soundtrack. And The Subtle Art of Mogology Part 2 is at the end, like a reprise. You've got tracks like Otto and Septi's tune, which are actually dedicated for specific cats. And that is for Otto and Septi, from Marilyn Edwards' first book on cats, The Cats of Moon Cottage. And the piece tells a story which coincides with the actual book about their lives and how they live together, etc., etc. Another one was a couple of the ones for cats in particular, the Tortoiseshell, Barney's tune, that's for one of my cats I had. Purrs in Heaven, I mentioned earlier on about my cat Tigger Moo Moo who died. Theme from the Rose, one of my cats, but I mean, I've sort of named them after these cats, but it appeals to cats in general, really, but they tell little stories. Garden Times, a sort of guitar instrumental, where I've always liked sitting in the garden on the grass and they come running towards you and they roll about. Garden Times, that expresses the summer, planning the garden with the cats. There's a novelty track on there called The Kittens and the Pixies, quite an upbeat thing. The kittens and the pixies playing in the garden, chasing their tails. Bit of fun. So there's all styles on there. Ambient, guitar instrumental, dance music, classical, all sorts of stuff. Instrumental, so there's vocal expressions on there as well, talking about cats. But in all, I think just over 50 minutes worth, piece for the cat fan. So they're the general names, but yeah, they all mean something really, all the different titles. But The Subtle Art of Mogology is meant to sort of sum up what Mogology is, and that's all the things that cats do. My other releases can vary from very mystical type subjects to novelty records as well. Going back to the mystical side, I mean, I tend to only write about stuff that I'm really passionate about, hence cats. But also I'm very interested in mysticism and paranormal things, and one album is called Glastonbury. Nothing to do with the Glastonbury Festival. People think of the Glastonbury Festival when you talk about Glastonbury. But this is about the mystical land of Glastonbury, the Glastonbury Tor, the Abbey, the Chalice Well. That's one album. I mean, I love the moon. So there's an album called Moon Vibe, and it's a relaxation album of lunarscape. And I think cats are very mystical and very spiritual. I just think they have a knowing where you can watch them, and often they'll look at things that we can't see. There's one story which is actually in Marilyn Edwards' latest book. She writes about this, where I was watching television and my cat Tigger Moo Moo was on the coffee table in front of me, not facing me, she was facing away, and suddenly I was totally sober, just sitting there having a cup of tea. Actually, I was having a glass of red wine, just got back from doing a show, and at the corner of my eye I noticed this purple-blue vortex trying to manifest, and I thought, what's this? It wasn't a ghost, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely something physically manifesting. What amazed me was not so much me seeing this vortex, is with the fact my cat, not seeing my reaction, was stuck in mid-wash, washing away. She just looked at this vortex and looked at it up and down as if to say, what's this? And then it disappeared, and then she carried on washing. So that cat saw that manifest. I saw it with my own eyes, So I think things exist we don't know about. So my music, again, expresses the interest and potential and excitement of wonders of the universe. And I think maybe that's why I get on with cats, because I think they're very spiritual creatures. So previous releases have been mainly on mysticism and a few pop records here and there as well. But I release stuff under the name The Energy of Love Formation. That's the working artist title. And the Energy of Love Formation could be me. I mean, I produce it all, but I might get in, if I need a monk to chant, I'll get a monk in. If I need a female vocalist, I'll get a female vocalist. If I need a rapper in, I'll get a rapper in. If I need a cat to meow, I'll get... So the Energy of Love Formation is whatever exists at the time to what I produce. So they're the other releases, and they're all available still as well, you know.
And of course the all-important question, are there any more plans for a Mogology 2 in the pipeline? Or
I don't know. People keep saying, you know, you could do Poochology for dogs. But I think the thing is, I like all animals, but I'm really passionate about cats. And I think the thing is with Mogology, it came out from me. It just happened. I can't actually remember sitting down and writing the music. It just like was there. It just come through me. So I think if I was signed to a major record label and they said, oh, Mogology was successful, now do Poochology or Giraffeology or whatever, I'd have to sit down and actually construct it. And that's where you lose the art, I think, really, you know, and the nature of it all. So there may be another cat one, Mogology Part 2. But as I say, there was one in '95 called Spirit of the Cat, which did well. Over the last 15 years, it's just turned now into purely making records. I still teach guitar and music theory in my studio, and also I do cabaret shows as an instrumentalist, guitar and mandolin around the world, you know, from Africa to Portugal, you know, the Pontons and Warner circuits. Having said that, I did that full time in the 90s, 6 nights a week doing these tours, 20-minute, 40-minute cabaret shows, working with people like Joe Pasquale, you know, these very, you know, variety, very glitzy showbiz stuff. But all I do now is say make the records and still teach, but I pick and choose the shows. You know, I went to Spain earlier this year, just did some shows there. So it's just nice to be in the position to... I couldn't not do it again. But my thing now is really, I only release records on subjects that I am passionate about, as I said. So it's finding that balance of finding a commercial outlet and doing something that I want to do. And I never really play the Energy of Love Formation stuff live. When I do the cabaret shows, it's just, you know, Kevin Dean in cabaret. So maybe one day it'd be nice to do some stuff, maybe put one number into the cabaret act, you know, some ideal stuff on Mogology, sort of very sort of guitar-y things, guitar instrumental. But people say I'm lucky to have a job that I enjoy, you know, and I'll say, well, it's not always enjoyable because it's hard work. You know, you spend a year in the studio recording an album and it exists in your mind. It's like bursting to get out, and you have to, you know, slog your guts out over that mixing desk, squeezing out of the speakers what you want to hear, and you can see in your mind what you want. This music and the purring and the meowing, I'm talking about Mogology in particular, you know. A lot of hard work, and it's nice when it's done. You know, it's nice to sit here and talk to you about it, and it's out there, it's in the shops, it's available. But the actual, well, you've got your own studio, you're recording, must be lovely to get out of bed in the morning and go to your studio. But you've got to have the motivation to do it. You know, I don't sit there thinking, here we go, in the studio, it's hard work. Like any job, I suppose. But I am lucky, I think, to be able to do something in the art world, you know, the music world, media world, because it is so exciting and the potential, you never know what's going to happen. So it's interesting, and you never know what's around the corner.
So tell us a little bit about the artwork on the discs.
The artwork, I know an artist called Rachel Bessie, who actually lives in the same village as me, and she travels the world painting, doing her art, and I approached her and said, would you be interested in doing a cover for the Mogology album? And she said, well, yeah. So she'd done some sketches, and I think when you commission something, it's always quite nerve-wracking, especially, you know, for me, but also for the artist, because I'm thinking, well, am I going to like it? You know, what do you say if you don't? But as soon as she put it in front of me, it was like, that's it. That is definitely the cover. So straight away, we had meetings and talked about what I wanted, and you know, I want sort of mystical cover, the moon and some pixies running about, and the night sky, and the intense cat eyes. Come round, this is it, and I was thrilled to bits. So yeah, Rachel Bessie did all the artwork. The photographs were taken by myself of my cats. I want a combination of artwork and photography. So I'm really pleased with the cover.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin, for coming in and talking to us, and I'm certainly going to grab myself a copy, and I recommend you do too. Join us again on CatWorld TV very soon.